Hey, Rose fans, welcome back to the Far Post podcast. I'm your host today, Elizabeth Pehota, but don't worry, I'm still joined by my colleague, Jeff Lemieux. Jeff, how are you doing?
Doing all right. Had a great Memorial Day weekend. I hope everybody else was able to get outside, enjoy the weather. I had a beautiful weekend. For the first time after 2.5 months cooped up in my apartment, I did go visit my parents this past weekend. We maintained safe social distance. I gave my parents elbow bumps, which was a really weird thing to do. That felt a little bizarre, but everybody's just trying to stay safe. It was fantastic to see them. But I want to take this time as well to use my opportunity to say happy birthday to Elizabeth Pehota. I don't know when this podcast will actually go live, but the day that we're recording, it is Elizabeth's birthday. So happy birthday, Elizabeth.
I appreciate that, Jeff. Thank you.
How was your birthday?
It's good. My sister surprised me this morning and put balloons outside my room. I was telling you earlier, but my dog's afraid of the balloons, so it's really cute. He'll go up and sniff it and then jump back. I ran 7 miles this morning in honor of 27, so tried to do something fun. Going to have a nice dinner with my family, but just low-key at home.
There you go. My birthday's coming up in a couple months, but I will not be running my age. I can promise you that.
That's fair. July 5th. Mark your calendars. I know the date.
Yep.
But we do have a special guest that's joining us today, and that's New England Revolution midfielder Scott Caldwell. Scott, thank you for taking the time to join the podcast today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and happy birthday, Elizabeth. Did not know that. Yeah.
I got
you.
Appreciate
it. First and foremost, Scott, how have you been doing during this time?
Yeah, I've been doing well. Just trying to stay busy in my own way and try to occupy myself with all the downtime and time at home. So, but overall, been doing well.
And how's your family? I know that you're from Massachusetts as well. So have you been able to see them at all?
Yeah, kind of like Jeff was saying, I've been able to visit just about everyone in my family. We usually hang out in the driveway, maintaining social distancing and trying to stay safe. But it's been nice to be able to see them every now and then, even if it is from a distance, and just to catch up and talk to each other, see each other. So.
Of course, it's always nice to see family, right?
Yeah, definitely.
You mentioned keeping busy. What have you been up to during this time to fill it?
Yeah, a bunch of different stuff, but I started off the quarantine doing puzzles here and there in our apartment. My fiance Stephanie and I would work together on those. Since then, just, working out, definitely doing a lot of that, stay fit. I've been trying to help my sister out with real estate, trying to find a home and a few other things, just trying to stay busy. Yeah, different ways.
Sounds like you have a lot on your plate. That's a lot of different tasks there.
Yeah, I mean, I'd much prefer to be doing something rather than just sitting around doing nothing. So I always try to find different ways to stay busy.
What's been the most difficult puzzle that you've done so far?
I'm actually a little embarrassed to say this because I don't like giving up or stopping a task once I start. But one of my cousins gave me a 3,000 piece puzzle and I didn't get through it. It was too big for the space we had. I ended up doing it on the floor because that was the only spot in my apartment that I had room for a 3x4 foot puzzle. And I only got the edges done. I couldn't really manage the floor, the pieces everywhere. And it just sat there for a couple of weeks. I decided that was it. Couldn't do it. So I wish that wasn't the case. I'll have to give it another try another time when I have more space, I think. But for now, that was the toughest one.
What was the puzzle of?
It was it had to do with the Beatles, but it was almost like 3 or 4 puzzles in one. It was one picture, but like you'd have to attack it in different ways. I don't have a good description of it other than that.
It's nice to kind of be able to have that excuse, though, instead of saying, this was too big a puzzle, I couldn't finish it. It's just like, look, I'm in a small apartment. I couldn't manage the space. It was just more a logistical thing than an inability to finish the puzzle, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It was purely logistics. No other reason.
My sister and I started the Starry Night puzzle at the beginning of this period and put it away in the first week and said no more. And then we took it out a couple weeks later and actually got all of my family in on trying to do it. And we did finish it, but it was a really big effort because all the pieces look the same.
That's what makes it tough, right?
Yeah. Scott, you mentioned your fiance, Steph. You submitted a questionnaire that said you've been reading a lot of wedding books. How is your wedding planning going?
Yeah, it's going all right. She loved that. She loved that answer, but it's been going all right. It's been on hold for quite a while now. There's not a ton we can do in terms of the details and all that until there's more clarity about what's going on in the world come December. But we've been able to talk about it and just figure out backup plans and all that, just in case things aren't perfectly normal by then.
So were you at least at a point where you hadn't like picked a date and picked a venue and all that and had to start canceling stuff? You were at a point where at least you hadn't picked any of the details and now you can kind of hold off?
No, we have all that, but our venue is very understanding of the situation going on and you know, what might have to happen. So we definitely have a few more months to see what's going on and evaluate and move on from there. But we're definitely excited, you know, when the time comes. So we can't wait for that chance and to get married. And we know it'll happen sometime soon.
How much does having that celebration to look forward to kind of keep you hopeful of this situation?
Yeah, no, it's a great thing to look forward to. Absolutely. You know, hopefully sometime soon we're able to get all our families together. But for now, we just have to stay safe, but definitely something to look forward to.
You have to stay safe. And with you both at home in your apartment, have you guys found any new culinary skills?
Steph is definitely more adventurous when it comes to cooking. She'll try out different things. She'll look up different recipes and try it out. Actually, just last night, she made some really good chickpea burgers. So we had gotten a few of those at Whole Foods and loved them. And so she decided to put herself to the task, and they came out very good. For me, I only have a select few things I cook. So sure, you guys remember a few weeks ago, we kept it pretty simple on the Zoom call, and but ultimately we've been cooking just about every night, and Stephanie does a better job of that than I do.
Did look like on that season member Zoom call though, you made some. I suppose they were simple, but they were stuffed burgers, and they did look delicious. So you didn't even go for just like the classic burger. You went the stuffed burger, which is like a classier burger. So at least like even that was stepped up another notch.
Yeah, we try to change things up here and there, so we're not getting sick of the same stuff. But that's about as adventurous as I get when it comes to cooking.
You mentioned that you have some selection for your cooking skills that you go to. What are the Scott's selections that you would typically make?
Yeah, it's a good question. I used to always cook just chicken, rice, and broccoli. So just and usually I could make 2 meals out of it if I was just cooking for myself. That's like a little bit too plain, so I try to change it up a little bit now. But burgers is definitely another a meal that I do. I'm trying to think. I don't know, Steph, what other meals do I cook? She said chicken, rice, and broccoli. So just the chicken, rice, and broccoli, I guess. I'm going to try to work on a few other things, though. Maybe next time we have this call, I can have some more recipes and more ideas out there.
I hope so. We've spoken with a lot of your teammates during this time, and in particular, when we've talked to rookie Henry Kessler, you know, this is his first time on his own, so he's been learning how to cook. And when you guys are at the stadium, you have a lot of meals provided for you. So he told us he's been learning to cook brown rice, tilapia, and then DeJuan Jones, who we talked to last year, he told me he didn't know how to cook chicken on the podcast. And now he's making all these lasagnas and like fancy mac and cheese dishes. Do you think that this time kind of forces someone who's a little younger and might not have some of those cooking type of skills on your own into the wild, I guess, to just kind of pursue them?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a great time to learn something new, especially when it comes to cooking, especially being at home all the time. So those young guys can definitely use this opportunity to do that. I'm fortunate to have Stephanie here, who helps out a lot when it comes to that. But yeah, for the young guys, I think it's a great opportunity for them.
I will say too with Henry. Sorry, when Henry talked about making brown rice and tilapia and all that, we mentioned, okay, I go, how do you prepare your rice? He was like, oh, it's in a bag. You throw it in the microwave. I was like, all right, You're on my level then. He's not quite there yet. He's about where I am.
Literally so funny. Speaking of your teammates, how close of contact have you stayed with them during this time?
We've been able to see each other here and there via FaceTime or Zoom calls. Haven't been able to really see each other in person much unless it's from a distance. Although I have been able to see a couple of the guys from a distance at my house. So I have seen Henry a couple times and just been able to talk, socially distant. So it's good to see guys when we can. Being able to train again and see guys is always a great thing. So we just hope we're able to do that more moving forward.
You mentioned your house. For anyone who might not know, we know that you manage a house of some of your teammates. How did that kind of come about, becoming, I guess, a team landlord, we might say?
Yeah, ever since my second year when I was living with my parents, I wanted to buy a house and move out from my parents eventually. So I didn't know when that was going to happen or how it was going to happen. But at the end of my second year, I was able to find a place that offered that opportunity, and it had enough rooms in it where I could also have some of my teammates live with me, and it worked out great where we were able to help each other out and also live together. And so it was a great chance. And now that I've decided to move out, it's still a great spot close to the stadium that guys can live in.
How do you think that living with your teammates before you moved out helped foster some special bonds?
Yeah, it's great. Anytime you have a roommate or a teammate who you become really close to and live with for years, you create memories, you create bonds that can't really be broken. And so it's something great to be able to hold on to now. And it's what's kept us close now for a couple of years outside of that relationship, outside of living together, and now moving on with the rest of our lives. And one that a lot of those relationships that are built then will last probably for life, I hope.
How much has your roommate situation been stepped up now that you're living with Stephanie over Andrew Farrell and Matt Turner and some of those guys?
It's definitely different, that's for sure. But I am thrilled to be in the situation I am now, and I'm sure Stephanie is too. So it's definitely a different situation for sure, but one that we all like.
I hope that she was listening and heard your answer, because that was a great answer.
She actually stepped out in the other room. That's why I was laughing. But I probably would have sucked up a little bit more if she was in the room.
Fair enough. And Scott, we've started to see some progress on the sports front, integrating some different leagues across the world, getting that first step of getting back. Have you been able to follow the Bundesliga at all?
Just a little bit. Watched 2 games over the last couple of weekends, but not fully. I haven't been able to fully watch as much as I probably should or would like to, but maybe in the coming weeks I will.
Just with regards to the couple games that you've seen, we were talking to Andrew Farrell about this last week. There were always going to be questions about, well, what's the play going to look like? What's the product going to be like? What's the quality of play going to be like? What did you think about the couple of games that you saw, just in terms of kind of the product on the field and the quality of the play as those players got back into it?
Yeah, I thought it was great. There's always going to be commentary on, it's empty stadium, or, they didn't have a full preseason to get back. And maybe that's true in terms of fitness levels, but ultimately players are competitors. And when they step on the field and go at it, especially in games that are so meaningful, like, the play is going to be a good level. And I've seen that. I feel that way. And hopefully sometime that can happen with us too, because everyone wants to get back to playing games.
Have either of the games that you saw had piped in crowd noise? Because this was a big topic of conversation yesterday.
No, but I look forward to seeing that or hearing that sometime soon. I've heard good things about it, to be honest. I don't know if I'm just getting my information from a select few people, but I heard it was pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a personal preference thing for a lot of people. It seems like it's pretty divisive in terms of topics. Yesterday, the Borussia Dortmund Bayern Munich game had the crowd noise piped in, and whoever's doing the audio engineering for it is incredible. Like, it's a whole process, because at one point Bayern, who was playing on the road at Borussia Dortmund, played the ball back to their keeper, and the audio engineer literally piped in like jeers and whistling, as you would hear happen at that moment in the game. So like there are all these little nuances to it. But for me, it was still a little weird hearing the chanting, hearing all the crowd noise, because they'll pull out wide and you see an empty stadium,
right.
you hear the fans. So then you get to a point of, it's like, okay, well, are they going to try to figure out ways to block off the seats or put in LED screens so you're seeing fans when you're hearing a noise? Like I think there's a lot of things everyone's going to figure out, but I would definitely recommend trying to catch a game with the crowd noise, just so you can get in on that conversation, because I think that's going to be a pretty divisive topic.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely going to try that. Now, here's a question. Is the crowd noise coming from, is whoever's controlling it, is it in the stadium? So do the players hear it, or is it strictly through the TV audio?
Just on the TV audio.
Okay.
So the stadium
I think that would
still
actually be entertaining if it was in the stadium.
So as a player, you would actually prefer to potentially have crowd noise even if the stands are empty? You'd almost rather have it piped in through the stands?
I'm not sure I'd prefer when I'm playing. I think it would be a little bit funny and entertaining if you did hear that type of stuff. But I think it's probably better overall for the sake of the game to have it just in the TV audio.
Yeah, there were definitely some countries around the world where it's essentially like the SAP button, where you could choose to listen with the crowd noise or without. Now, on FS1 in the US, the crowd audio was there. You didn't have the option, but that was what a lot of people said was it'd be kind of cool if this was an option. Some people enjoy watching with it. Some people enjoy not watching with it. So, I think that's just what's going to happen. Like every game that gets played from here on out for the next few months, you're going to see little tweaks here and there. Like everyone's just trying to figure out what it's going to look like. But that was a huge topic of conversation yesterday. So that would be interesting to be in a stadium and hear the crowd noise piped in while you're on the field. Maybe that's going to happen at some point in the future. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'm envisioning a preseason game like when we were in Portland and just having the audio piped in there.
It would be, it's definitely unique and one that we all wish isn't the case, but we all have to deal with the current situation and hope that it just, it gets better from here on out.
Scott, although there's still a lot to figure out, as you guys were talking about, how nice was it to just see some progress being made on sports returning?
Yeah, no, it's great to see. It's exciting, to see the Bundesliga play, to hear about potential other sports coming back. And so it's definitely great to see that. Comments that have made, I think the New York governor a few days ago said that professional sports in New York can return sometime soon. So it's great to hear. We just hope that sometime soon, we can safely get back and play games as well. Everyone wants to play games, and it would be really great. And it's just good to hear other sports are starting to. And yeah, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
One of the biggest things about returning is getting your fitness level back up. How fit have you been able to keep yourself during this time at home? Yeah,
I think we've all gotten really good at running. So I don't know when it comes to soccer fitness, because we haven't been able to get into, any small sided or full field games, anything like that. It's been strictly different types of running workouts or bike workouts. So been able to maintain a really good fitness, and I'm sure a lot of guys on the team have, but it's different than soccer fitness. So we'll still have to get back into, full group training eventually and all that, and to be able to get, to have that fitness level that we had in the beginning of the season.
So I think what I heard there is that you're one of the fastest guys on the team now.
If you want to spread that narrative around, I'm not going to argue with you or complain, but I'm not going to do that myself.
Hey, if it's on the internet, Scott Caldwell is the fastest player on the New England Revolution. It's now been said on the internet, so it's fact. That's the way things work now.
Is it? Oh, that's great.
In becoming the hypothetical fastest person on the team, do you prefer sprinting or long runs?
I'd prefer to be faster in sprints, but that's just not the case. So I'm better in the longer distance running. That's for sure.
I can understand that one very much so. Scott, you've had an opportunity to return to the reps training fields to do some individual workouts. How important is it to be taking that first step to getting back?
Yeah, it's been a really cool experience just to be able to see your teammates again, even if it is from far away, and also to get back to working on a soccer field with a soccer ball, dribbling through, even if it's just dribbling through cones and little things. But like I said, it's really a great feeling to be back out there. You're actually starting to feel optimistic that things are moving in the right direction, and just hope that they continue to move in that way. But yeah, it's been great so far. Yeah, good to be able to get a little bit of the soccer fitness back in that aspect.
Speaking of feeling optimistic, there's been progress across the entire league of individual workouts returning. How does that help you mentally, seeing that progress?
Yeah, I think for everyone, just instead of being locked up in your home, which we still are, aside from that 1 hour a day, but you just get to have that optimism that maybe we'll be able to train sometime in the future. Whereas before it was kind of everyone was down mentally, understandably just only going out for runs or staying inside riding on a bike. And now being able to see the beautiful fields at our training facility and be able to actually train on them for the first time, that really brings a sense of optimism, within our team at least, and I'm sure across the league.
You mentioned being at the training facility. I want to throw it back to about 6 months ago in December when we filmed the Training Alone feature. You've had some time to kind of assess your acting skills, but what are your thoughts on becoming a professional actor perhaps after soccer?
I think there's still a lot to be learned in that field. If you guys have future casting that you need done, and maybe I fit the right part, maybe I can learn a little bit more, prepare, and be better in that aspect. Right now, I don't think I'm ready, but I really enjoyed that. That's for sure.
We stepped it up because you did have a small role, a non-speaking role in our elf features the previous year,
right,
which you absolutely knocked out of the park. I mean, it was when you don't have an opportunity to speak and you just have to rely on your facial features and your looks. I mean, it's harder to act that way. And you were fantastic as the elf, one of the store elves in Elf. So we brought you up to the next level.
The big league.
Training Alone.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I didn't realize that was your thought process, and it makes a lot of sense though. And hopefully I did well enough in with more of a featured role that I could expand on that in the future.
Hey, if you're
oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, if you're telling us right now that you're in for future roles, yeah, most guys wait until we press them really hard to do something. If you're just putting yourself out there saying you'll do whatever.
Well, I think you have to take a step back now. I think as I've shown that I did all right in this, I think now I'm at a level where I can say, maybe if it's the right part. So I'm going to have to see from the directors, what type of part it is, what the script is like before actually moving forward, I think.
Scott, when you look back at both of those roles, do you have a preference on which one you played, and which feature did you think came out better?
I think the elf one did come out better. I thought that was really, really a fantastic couple of videos and I thought Matt did a good job with that overall.
Were you trying to find inspiration through Matt? Did you feel like you had to kind of try to hit that level when you did Training Alone? A little bit.
I didn't think, my expectations weren't high enough. I think his was just so good that I thought, maybe I could fit a little bit underneath, a little bit below that, and I'd be happy with it.
Legit question. As you were getting ready to film your first scene for Training Alone, were you more nervous in that moment, or as you're getting ready to step on the field to play a professional soccer match?
No, definitely more nervous before games.
Okay.
I trusted you guys and knew that the editing could be done in a way that would make me look better than I am. And that's just not the case in games.
That's our job, making you guys look good, however we can. Scott, switching gears, about a year ago, you became the first ever professional active athlete to march in the Boston Pride Parade. How fondly do you look back on that day at this time?
Yeah, no, I have great memories of that. That was an awesome an awesome parade, an awesome walk, and one that I hope guys will join me in the future. I think it was a great cause and one that I'm really proud to have done. And I think, like I said, I hope more people will join us moving forward in the next walk that we're able to go to.
Yeah, I was there with you last year. I've had the opportunity to march in that parade with the Revs a couple of times too. And what was the experience of that day, like the actual parade? Because as someone who's been able to march in it, it's just such a cool experience. Everyone at that parade, everyone marching in the parade, everyone watching the parade, there's just such this like infectious energy. Everyone is positive, everyone's excited, everyone's waving their flags. Like, just what was it like kind of feeling that energy of that parade for the couple of hours that you're marching?
Yeah, no, I think you put that really well, because it's this infectious energy that you can't really explain or you can't really understand until you're there. And so for me being there when I'd been told how awesome it was and how great experience it was, but until you experience it yourself, you don't really fully grasp, the energy, the enthusiasm, the just general, people being good people and being nice to one another and just enjoying being there until you're actually there. So I think more people will just have to attend and walk in the parade, hopefully next year, whenever the next one is.
Yeah, one day we'll have parades back in the city of Boston, and when we do, everybody get out to the Pride Parade, because it's there is nothing else like it. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Although the parade is unfortunately not taking place this year due to the circumstances of COVID-19, how important is it for the community to continue to embrace the messages of acceptance and unity throughout this time?
Yeah, I think that's huge at any time of the year. People, especially given the circumstances right now, and some people being, in an area or in a tight-knit home, where you can't really experience a ton outside of home. And some people, when you don't have the normal everyday distractions in life, it's difficult to really, I guess, have an optimistic sight of the future. I'm struggling to get across what I want to get across, but especially at a time like this, people can be down on themselves or down on the future. But it's really important for everyone to spread positivity and just be good people in the time that we're in right now, because it's necessary for people to stay optimistic and to just have a good outlook, because things will get better. And it's, and not just for the month of June and Pride, but year round in every situation.
Absolutely. Staying positive, especially at a time like this, is so important. Scott, to finish up, we have a few curveballs we're going to be throwing your way. Jeff has put together a few would you rather questions. So I'm going to turn it over to him, as he's going to ask you some really, really hard ones.
All right. I wasn't given this warning. Jeff gave me a warning on a few others, but
Scott looks thrilled.
Yeah, we don't prep anybody on the would you rather questions, because it just wouldn't have the same effect if we didn't just hit it with you.
You can't have time to think about them. You just got to go for it.
So we got 5 would you rather questions. 3 of them are soccer related. The other 2 aren't soccer related, but
okay.
Nothing that's gonna get you in trouble, I don't think, unless you give a typical Scott Caldwell answer and get yourself in trouble, which we've seen happen a million times before. We've really had so many issues with answers that you get in the past.
Scott, sometimes you're just hard to work with. I mean, I'm just kidding.
All right. So the first option, would you rather, if you could go back and relive one of these moments from your career, would you rather relive your game winner in the 2010 NCAA title game when you scored the only goal in a 1-0 win for Akron over Andrew Farrell's Louisville? I feel the need to remind everybody of that. Or would you go back and relive your first professional goal to cap off the 4-0 win over Real Salt Lake in 2015, in which Andrew Farrell was the first player there to congratulate you on that goal?
Yeah, I don't know how he got across the field so fast there. That's tough. I guess you're supposed to, would you rather, you're supposed to answer quickly, right?
No, I mean, you can
think about it if you need to.
You can talk it out.
Yeah, I'd probably probably the 2010 national championship, just because it was the year prior we had lost in the final, and then getting that opportunity again, and especially against Andrew. Now, if we'd both be able to relive that time that moment at the same time, that would be perfect, because then I could rub it in his face even more. So I'd say that one. Yeah.
That's kind of what I was hoping for. That's a perfect answer.
Yeah.
I will note for fans as well, although you did lose in the 2009 title game in a penalty shootout, you did step up and take a penalty, and you scored your penalty in that penalty shootout. So I just want that on the record for people, that in that moment you stepped up and you hit your penalty.
See, you're always making us look good. So that's great.
That's our job. All right. I'm going to move on. I know you're a big Survivor fan, and I don't even know if this is a question that you can answer without much more context, but I don't know enough about Survivor to really know. If you were on Survivor, would you prefer to form an alliance or go it alone?
Form an alliance. You have to, really. You should watch a couple. They have old seasons on. I think Andrew Farrell's actually just told me yesterday he's watching an old season. And they're quick. You can binge watch those for sure too. But yeah, you kind of have to. And then at some point, I'm sure, obviously this is just from watching, have to talk to Ethan at some point to get more information from someone who's actually experienced playing it. But you'd have to form an alliance and put some trust in other people, and then maybe make the right move at the right time on your own.
Scott, I have a follow-up question, because we talked about this on Instagram Live when we did one with the Academy a few weeks ago. And I'm going to repeat the question, but if you guys, your whole team was on Survivor, who would win?
Yeah, I'm still going to say myself, but who really knows? I know I've watched a lot of seasons and tried to put myself in the situation that they'd be on. It's a lot easier to watch and make commentary and make decisions from your couch than it is in the game. But, I hope maybe someday I can actually be on it. We'll see.
And I know when you do form an alliance with somebody, you've got to put that trust in them, and then you've got to hope that they don't backstab you. So if you were given the option to form an alliance, so you're forming an alliance with either Farrell or Turner, who do you feel like you'd rather form an alliance with?
I think Farrell. I think we'd stick longer with each other. I think Turner might try to make this big move at an earlier point in the show, and we'd have to, move on from that prior. So I think Andrew, yeah.
I can see you two. You're the guy who would form the alliance, and then you'd be the first one to start backstabbing people. That's just the sense I've gotten from you over the years.
You never know, though, when it comes to the actual show. Who really knows? You just
day by day.
Yeah.
All right, back to soccer. We mentioned you took a penalty in the 2009 title game, and you converted there. If you had to take a penalty, would you rather take a penalty in the driving rain or wind?
We playing at Gillette?
Yeah, let's say you're playing at Gillette, so it's pretty windy.
I'd prefer the rain. Wind can affect, in my opinion, the wind can affect the ball pretty significantly. And if it's not like a slippery, muddy field, then rain won't be that big of a deal.
I feel like we end up not focusing on, like, people assume precipitation is really the only weather you focus on. We're like, okay, well, is it raining? Is it snowing? And that's what we talk about with weather. But a lot of guys have said wind is harder to play in than any other weather.
Yeah, a hard field with wind is really difficult.
I also liked how you pointed out if you were playing at home, because you're right. It makes a difference.
It really does. He's smart. That's why he's going to win Survivor. All right. Back to that. This is sort of playing off the Survivor a little bit. Would you rather be stranded in the jungle or in the desert?
I need to learn more about how to survive in those in those climates. I think a jungle would offer you more to survive, but I don't know. Yeah, I'd say, a jungle, I guess.
I figured you probably know more about surviving in the jungle from Survivor, right? Because I feel like there's been Survivor in the jungle, but not so much in like desert atmospheres.
Yeah, there's more like it's islandy, so you can find maybe fruits or some type of way to get water and all that. But I don't know. That's a tough one. I have to learn how to do all that stuff anyways. Not quite there yet.
Hey, you got time. Use the rest of your week to go learn about the intricacies of surviving in jungle atmospheres and desert atmospheres, and then get back to me.
All right. Sounds good.
I will be expecting a paper on my desk by the end of the week. All right. This is the last one, and I made this one up. This is like the 12th podcast we've done. We've been doing these Would You Rather questions, so I tried to get a little adventurous with this one. So I don't even know if it's going to make sense. So would you rather, in a 90-minute game, have the opportunity to use your hands 3 times at any point that you want? You can bat the ball, you can catch the ball, and you can throw the ball, but you can't run around with the ball, okay? 3 times in the game, you can use your hands whenever you want. Or would you rather be able to freeze your opponents for 10 seconds 1 time? It's easy, right?
For 10 seconds?
10 seconds, yeah.
You're guaranteeing yourself 1 goal if you do that.
You're pretty much going to score a goal when you freeze your opponents. Or you could, if they have an empty net, you can freeze them. You could eventually, you could prevent a goal if you needed to.
But using your hands 3 times, if you do it in the right 3 times, you could create 2 or 3 goals or stop. So I would use my hands 3 times.
All right.
Yeah, that's my final answer.
That went better than I thought it was going to. I thought you might have just stared at me and been like, stupid question. Let's move on.
No, it wasn't bad.
We actually had talked it out. I like it. All right, I feel better about that now. That's it. That's your Would You Rather. You're good to go.
All right.
Scott, before we let you go, and now that you've answered all those hard ball questions from Jeff, do you have a message for the fans?
My message to the fans is just I hope everyone is staying safe, staying positive, finding ways to keep busy themselves, and hope that sometime soon we can get back to playing soccer again. And I hope everyone's doing well, and hope I can see them all sometime soon.
We're all looking forward to that day, hopefully soon. Thank you so much for joining us today, Scott, on the Fire Post podcast. It was such a pleasure speaking with you and catching up.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. You guys do a great job as always, and happy birthday again, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Scott. I appreciate it.
See you soon, man.
Everybody.